been kind of wondering. I've never seen you talk about this, so I guess I'll get myself in for the first question. But what is sort of your in like a brief? What is sort of your conversion backgrounds? Like, how did you get interested in theology? Everything like that. I've never heard you talk about that in public before.
Yeah, yeah. So I was born in Miami Beach, and I was born into a Catholic family. My mother's Puerto Rican. I never met my father, but uh, he left our family when I was about 6 months old. But my grandparents on my mother's side really raised me, and they were very passionate about the Catholic faith. And so I was raised with them, going to mass every Sunday, received my first communion, um, right there in St. Patrick's Cathedral. For anybody who's been to Miami, it's a pretty gorgeous cathedral on the shore. Um, when I became a teenager, I immediately dived into atheism, agnosticism, and objectivist philosophies. I basically had Nietzsche's worldview. Was very depressed, very sad about just about everything. Tried to be happy as I could, but it was a an anchor that drove my soul down. And when I hit university, I came across a Baptist evangelist, and he had shared with me a gospel track, one of these pamphlets. You know, that I'm sure you know what they are. They fold up. You know,
Hmm.
they have some sort of catching question. You know, and I read it, and I befriended this Baptist. He was a reformed Baptist, and he got me understanding the Bible. I started reading the Bible, and when I read the Gospel of Matthew, I was hooked. I would be spending hours in the university library on the fourth floor, in a corner where nobody could see me. I would just be on my stomach for every hour outside of classwork, just combing through the Bible, and that's what led to my conversion. And I ended up going to his church. Was passionate. Uh, they called themselves Reformed Baptists, but you understand what I mean. It's a
Hmm.
they have the London Baptist Confession of Faith of 1689 as their statement of faith. But the preacher there he was pretty solid. I mean, he needed a towel to dry his forehead every 15 minutes. um, but I was immediately thrown into uh, expositional, line by line, uh, preaching through the Word of God, and my soul was just taken over. I turned away from all my sins. I wanted to live a pure life, and that particular parish, you know, ecclesial community, uh, they they enrolled you into a very militaristic understanding of the faith. So we were
Hmm.
out knocking on doors every Saturday for hours. We were trained to go open air preaching through the Way of the Master or D. James Kennedy's. I can't remember it was called something. The Master Action Plan, something teaching you how to do confrontational evangelism. So I'd be hopping on buses, grabbing the microphone, and talking to people in public. I used to preach in front of women's clinics on
Hmm.
trying to help women decide to keep their babies. Um, I used to go to the clubs in downtown Orlando, and yeah, so we were fools for Christ, right? That's how we kind of saw ourselves, and yeah, I wanted to go into the ministry. I looked into getting into seminary, and but by that time, I had a number of issues come up that led me to survey the horizon of Christian history. And when that happened, I came into conflict with issues of church discipline that led to the question of where does Christian authority come from? And so that led me down to sitting with Lutherans, um, Presbyterians, and just reading the patristics, and that led me down to the Canterbury Trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I became an Anglican, and had a happy home with St. Albans in Oviedo.
Hmm.
I don't know if
Yeah,
you
I've been there before.
St. Albans. The father, well, I won't mention names, but
Hmm.
the rector there was very he was pro, he was not anti-Catholic at all,
Yeah.
and so he would recommend reading Catholic scholars, reading Aquinas, Bonaventure, anybody I can get my hands on. So that's what led me to the fork between Byzantium and Rome, or the Bosphorus and the Tiber. And um, so I began visiting Orthodox churches. I wanted to become Eastern Orthodox. I didn't want to go back to the Catholic Church. I had a memory of it since I was a young child, and a lot of it, my memory of it was just very insincere, inauthentic, and not very rigorous. And
Hmm.
I saw the Eastern Orthodox as more serious, and so I was searching for reasons to go Byzantine word, but I could not get over some of the essential evidences that I was seeing in the patristics for a principled Christianity that only matched uh, Catholicism, and
Hmm.
and so against my will and against what my soul would have thought was for happiness, I came into the Catholic Church, and I found out then that I was reverting. All I had to do was go to confession. I thought I was going to have to do RCIA and all that
Hmm.
all over again.